Discuss 4 defenses to the tort of nuisance. Defenses to the tort of nuisance. Defenses to the tort of nuisance. If you are accused in a court of law of nuisance, how will you defend yourself? That's what the question is requiring us to answer. What do you think? What do you think, Silas? All right. Now, one obvious defense is statutory authority. Statutory authority. Statutory authority may be used as a defense to the tort of nuisance. If the alleged nuisance is authorized by a statute or legislation, because that's the meaning of statutory. Statute is an act of parliament or legislation. If there is an act of parliament that gives one the authority to engage in the act, then that can be used as a defense. If the alleged nuisance is authorized by a statute or legislation, it can serve as a defense. However, the defendant must demonstrate that the nuisance is an inevitable consequence of the authorized activity, and that all reasonable precautions were taken to minimize the impact. You understand? That is one defense. Another defense is what we call prescription. 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 That is to mean, if the nuisance has been going on for a continuous period of time without any objection from the claimant, then the defendant may acquire what we call a prescriptive right to continue the activity. Prescriptive right. If the defendant has been doing the thing over a long period of time and no one has complained, then when this defendant is taken to court, the defendant can acquire what we call a prescriptive right. And that is a defense. Now, a prescriptive right allows the defendant to continue the activity even if it causes nuisance. Why? Because they would have acquired a legal right to do so through the long usage. So if you have been engaging in an activity that may be considered nuisance and no one has been complaining for a long period of time, say 20 years or so, then you can obtain a prescriptive right to continue doing the activity, and that right acts as your defense, so that if anyone runs to court to accuse you of nuisance, you can now use it as a defense, because such defense essentially legalizes the nuisance due to its long-standing existence. You understand? That's what we mean by prescription. That's a defense to the tort of nuisance. All right? Another defense is what we call coming to the nuisance. Coming to the nuisance. Coming to the nuisance. What does that mean? Now, if the claimant, and here the claimant is the one who accuses another for nuisance. If the claimant knowingly moved into an area where the nuisance already existed, they may have a weaker claim in a court of law. If you moved into an area and there is a lot of noise, knowing there is noise, and you accuse the one who is producing the noise, you came to the nuisance. The defendant can use that as a defense, that the claimant came to the nuisance. But you have to understand that the coming to nuisance defense is not absolute. It is not what? Absolute. That is to mean that the court will consider the nature and the extent of the nuisance, as well as the reasonableness of the defendant's conduct. It is not guaranteed that the court will grant you this defense. It's not absolute. But you understand? Coming to the nuisance. The fourth defense is what we call public benefit. Public benefit. Public benefit. If candidates, in some cases, the defendant may argue that the activity causing the nuisance provides a significant public benefit that outweighs the harm caused by the claimant. You understand? Public benefit. And such defense is often used in cases involving infrastructure projects or essential services. But here, just like the coming to the defense, the court will also carefully balance the public benefit against the individual harm suffered. You understand? Yes. So these are four defenses to the tort of nuisance: statutory authority, prescription, coming to the nuisance, public benefit. So candidates, when answering this question, you may not necessarily have to use the words I'm using. You can paraphrase these words, just like Wafula has been doing and the rest of you. Okay?